Hi everyone, it's Tammy and welcome back to the 12 Cards of Christmas. We are on card number 11. Woohoo! So, if you are new here or if this is your first time watching, I am going to tell you about the 12 Cards of Christmas. And if you have been here previously, then you know, but this is a refresher. This is the 12 Cards of Christmas and you can win one of these cards. I am going to make a card that will look very much like this one, and I'm going to gift one of these to one of you, and the other one I will send to one of my family or friends. And all you have to do to have the opportunity to win this card is to leave a comment with your email address below, and a winner will be picked randomly. By the 15th of the month, I am going to send out all the winners. So you don't have a long time to do it, especially now that we're getting close to the end. So be looking for an email by the 15th of the month. And then I need you to respond to me with your email or with your address by the 18th of the month so that I can send out the card on the 19th of the month. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to hold any of the cards, or it's just too tight of a schedule to get it to you later or to promise anything. So if I don't hear from you by the 18th, I am going to move on to someone else. So if you could please fulfill these obligations on your end to make sure that it runs smoothly, that would be fabulous. And on my end, I will get it to you. It doesn't matter if you're in the United States or outside. I will mail the card to you, and hopefully it will arrive, like I said, before Christmas, so that you have the opportunity to give it to someone else. I'm not going to sign the card or anything unless you ask me to. I'll just leave it blank, put it in the envelope, and send it on out. I have the envelope ready. It'll just needs your address. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started on card number 11. And this is the most complicated card I think that I have in the series. And it's really not that complicated, but it does require a little bit of patience, I guess. And I might be asking a little bit for patience from you guys because I have cut this card twice. Once to get an idea of how I wanted to do it, once to make this card. That has been a couple or 3 days ago, and I have my little instructions here, but I don't make myself much of an instruction sheet. So I'm just asking for your patience a little bit with this, because it was a little bit complicated, but it's a fun card and it's really not hard. You just have to figure out what you need. But I am using Tiny Town Rita and the Reindeer by Stampin' Bella as my stamped image. And she was a lot of fun to color. I really enjoyed her. And you'll see that I used another Stampin' Bella card for the final card because I really, really did enjoy stamping this image. And it turned out, in my opinion, really cute. So I am excited about it. And it has this side, and then it also has that side. So I got to use some card stock, and I got to use a little bit of stash, and so it's really not that bad. But I did go ahead and pre-cut all of my little pieces. So you need 4, one for this side, one for this side. So they're the same size, but they're opposite. And you have to be careful if you're using paper that is that's one direction. So like these papers were a little easier to cut because it didn't matter how I swished it. But this paper I needed to make sure faced up so that it said Merry Christmas. Same with this paper, it didn't really matter. And then I also have so this base of the card is an A2 size card, which is 5.5 by 4.25. My white base is actually I think I turned out this a little smaller. Let's see. I didn't write down what size I made this, but my little ruler. I really like the foil. So the red foil is cut at 4 by 5.25, so it gave it just a little bit of a border. But then I needed white to write on. I enjoy having a white piece in the middle so that I can write the sentiment, and I liked having a little bit of a border, so I made this piece a little smaller. So this is cut at about 4, is that right? Yes, about 4 by 3. So 4 by 3 for the middle piece, and then this is 4.25 by, no, sorry, it's 4 by 5.25, the red, and then the card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So whew, lots of measuring and stuff like that. So to get this card, I start with an 8 1/2 by 11 piece of paper. And hopefully you can see my cutter here. So this is an 8 1/2 by 11, just regular piece of card base. And what I'm going to do is I put it in at 4 1/4. Okay, I was trying to remember here what I did. I put it in at 4 1/4, and then I angled it so that this point ended up at 2 inches. So did you see how I did that? I had it just at 4 1/4, and then I just used the base to hold it. So like, I know that this is kind of out of camera. I'm using my finger to hold it, and I'm just rotating the top so that the point of the card on this end goes to 2 inches, like that. And then I cut. And this is our angle piece of the card. So then I'm taking this and I'm going to score this at 4 1/4 from the small side. Scoring it at 4 1/4. And then I'm also going to take that score line and move it to 4 1/4. And I'm going to score again. So I have 2 score lines. And then I'm taking my scrap piece now, and I'm going to take the taller side, so not the narrow side, but the tall side, and I'm cutting this at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut it at 5 1/2. So then this is going to be scrap or trash. So now I have a card base. That is my A2 sized card. I have this, which is going to be now scraps. And then I have this piece that I have scored at 4 1/4 twice. And you can see that this one isn't enough room, but that's okay. So it's really not hard. It's just a little bit hard to explain and a little bit complicated, but it's okay. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold in my first score line, and I'm going to fold out my second score line. See what that did there? Kind of made that first part of the card. Now, this is where this card comes in. You're just going to place that right there. And there is the card. So I think that I made it fairly simple, but it was a little bit hard to get there, but I think that it worked out. So now I'm going to take, you can use whatever you want, glue, tear and tape, whatever you want to use. And you could even put this on the inside if you wanted to. I wonder how that would look if I put it on the inside and then I'm covering it up with the red. I don't think people would see much of those 2 little lines there, and then that would make the back clean instead of having the back look like this. So I would say however you want to do it is fine. I think I'm going to do it on the inside this time. I did this one a little differently, and I didn't like this one as well. You can see that I did it so that they met here, and you can't really tell, but I know it's there, and I like this one. I think this looks a little cleaner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on the inside. So I'm going to put my glue on all the sides of this. And then I'm just going to line this up with the inside of my card. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my background paper, which again is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to put that right square down in the middle. And then I have my piece in here. Now this one, it looks like I cut it a little bit bigger than the other one, but it doesn't matter. This is just for the sentiment, whatever you want to write. So this one looks, let me just tell you what this one is cut at. I like the red foil, so I think I used scrap that I had, but this is 3 1/2 by 4 5/8. But again, it's really just for the sentiment. Don't fret over the small things like that. Don't let that kind of thing get on you. It's fine. Now, to make these little pieces, I will say this was a little bit of a, I don't want to say a pain, but it was a little bit of a pain. Oh, I had this for that. It was a little bit of a pain just because I had to kind of measure and figure out what sizes I wanted these to be. So what I would suggest doing is when you have this down, what I did was I measured this, and then I measured this, and I cut a square. Let me just tell you what I did. I would measure both of these. So this one should be 4 1/4. So it, oops, well, it has 2 sides. So this is, I want it to be 4 inches. I know that I want them all to be 4 inches, and then I just need them to be different heights. So this one is about 3 3/4 inches at its highest. So I know I wouldn't want it any higher than 3 1/2. So I cut a piece that was 3 1/2 by 4 inches. So then with my 3 1/2 by 4 inch piece, I then took it and just measured what this angle, what this was. This is, or how big I want it to be. So I measured, I took like 1/4 inch off. So I said 3 1/2 to 3 1/4. So then I would just put 3 1/2 on one dot on one side, 3 1/4 on the other dot, and do an angle cut. So that's how I got these. So it started off as a square, and then I just angle cut it from the highest to the lowest. And maybe I should tell you what those are so that everyone will know and I can write it down. So this one was angle cut at 3 1/2. Let me just double check again. No, 3 3/4 to 3 1/2. Approximately. And you would need 2 of those, 3 3/4 and 3 1/2. But you need 2. And it's angle cut. This is really hard to explain, but you know, so you want this one cut this way, but then the other one you need to be cut that way. But it's the same size. Well, close to. See, I even screwed up. I mean, but again, it's not going to matter. Like once you get this on here, you're not going to say, oh gosh, look, this one's bigger than that one. Like I can show you here. You're not going to be able to tell. So just, it's fine. This is where crafting is fine. And then you just need 2 more pieces. And this one is, let me measure, 2 3/4. I don't know how I'm going to put this on here, but you start off 2 3/4 square, and then you end off with 1 3/4. Is that right? Yeah, 1 3/4. Oh no, this is 2 1/2. 2 1/2 and 1 3/4. And again, let's see if these measure the same. Not exactly. This one's even longer than that one. So who knows? Just, but each one should be 4 inches. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to write that up, if I'm even going to write it up. That's probably why I didn't even try to do it with you guys, because it's hard to explain. But if you see it done, you can kind of do it. And I think that seeing how this works, you can do this. I mean, it just started off as a square, and then I just angle cut it. You could even, I mean, to make it super simple on yourself, you could, let me do it with a solid piece. You could even lay this down, put this here, line them up at the bottom, and draw your line where you want it cut, and then, or where this is, and then just go in 1/4 inch and draw another line and cut it just at an angle that way. And then you'll just have to cut the pieces here. So, I mean, make it as easy on yourself as you need to. If this doesn't make sense, what I was just telling you, just angle cut, just put it on the paper and angle cut it. You guys got this, I promise. It seems complicated, and I'm making it sound very difficult in the way that my words are being used, but I promise you, it's really not that complicated, and things don't have to be perfect, for sure. This is card making, and it's supposed to be fun. So if you're not having fun, or if this sounds like, girl, you're crazy, then skip this card and go on to the next. It's really not necessity, but it is fun, and sometimes I like to make my brain hurt by trying to figure some stuff out. Actually, trying to figure this card out was kind of like that for me, but I love it. And I think that the way that I ended up doing it was easier than a lot of the ways that I've seen other people try to do it. So it made sense to me to do it the way that I did it. So if it makes sense to you to do it a different way, you go for that. It's not rocket science. This is just card making, and nobody's going to get hurt. This is supposed to bring joy to somebody and joy to you when you're making it. And use your scraps if you want to. People do not, I mean, you know what you want in your head. I used to tell this to Katie when she was dancing. Like, she would do solos all the time, and she would get so upset with herself if she messed up. Nobody else knows what the dance is. Nobody else knows what it's supposed to look like. So if you mess up, nobody knows. Only you know that you skipped something, or you, I mean, maybe your coach knows, but honestly, nobody knows, and it's okay. So yay. Isn't it cute? It's cute just like that. You could put just a ribbon around here and it would be really cute. But I used this cute image again, and I love it. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to fussy cut her out, just because, I don't know, she just seems jovial and fun, and I feel like she needs to be fussy cut. And I like to leave a little bit of white around, so and to cut, I know I mention this most every time, use your scissors in your dominant hand, leave them still, just open and close. Use your less dominant hand to do all of the work. And you can see I stamped her on the back too. I am not a perfect crafter. Anyone that says that they are lying to you. So it's fine. I'm just putting glue on the back of her so that I can get her. Sorry, I just hit my stand. And I'm gluing her to some red foil. My scrap pile has gotten larger with all of these cards. I'm just going to cut off a little piece just to make it easier to cut. And now I'm going to fussy cut and leave a nice border of the red around my little girl. I think her name was Rita. Yep, Rita and the reindeer. When I was young, my mom had a friend named Rita. She lived down the street. And there we go. And then I'm just going to put her on the bottom of this card. So what I'm going to do is put her on here, raise her up just a little bit, know that this is where I want my glue. And glue away. Then I'm just going to attach her. Just like that. And give it a minute to dry. And then just say again that I know this card was a little more complicated than most of them, but gosh, I think it really is a cute card. And I sure hope that you guys like it too. And I hope I didn't make it too overcomplicated. I really wanted to try to keep it simple, stupid. You know, the KISS philosophy, which is a good one. But this will fit in an A2 size envelope. I think that you can definitely do this. Don't let my words of craziness and how my mind works deter you from giving it a try. I really like the way that I did the angles. I think that that worked out fabulously. I like that you can still use an 8.5 by 11 and get all of this. It's one sheet of the 8.5 by 11 to make a really nice fun fold card. And then I think that the scraps work, but if you wanted to use a piece of, I mean, all of these could be the same. You could use one sheet of 8.5 by 11 and do all of like a patterned paper and do all 4 panels the same, and literally just trace this and cut it down and you would be set. So I'm sorry if I overcomplicated it, but this card could be yours. I'm going to use it, and I have the envelope ready, card number 11. So if you are interested in this, again, just remember to leave an email and a comment below, and I will get back to the winner by the 15th. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a very Merry Christmas. Bye.